gameranx presents another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some first impressions and some straight up gameplay of the latest games releasing. Today we're talking about WWE 2K17. We did a Before You Buy on 2K16, and I went into 2K17 with a bunch of questions because it finds itself in an interesting place. This franchise is kind of building itself back up in the sense that once it made the turn to this next generation, it kind of had to cut back on some features, I guess to rush it to ship it onto next gen consoles. But now with every release since this newer generation, it's been adding features and basically getting back to where it was. And I think it's worth noting for fans that 2K17 definitely does feel like the most fleshed out one in a while. There's just more stuff in general. The gameplay is more fine-tuned and honed here and there, but it hasn't changed in a big way, but we'll get more on that later. So what does WWE 2K17 really come with? What's the good stuff here? The thing I've enjoyed the most so far is Universe Mode, because that's where you get to be a general manager and basically just play in a sandbox and make your own cool wrestling thing for yourself. This is where I think 2K17 really shines because it just adds so much more. This mode and the game in general is highly customizable down to little details like show intros, video packages, the music within those video packages, custom fireworks down to smaller details. And if you're just a big WWE and wrestling fan, I think that'll keep you busy for an incredibly long time. Career mode, at least for me, falls a little bit more flat than last year, but I think either or, it's still not really hitting the potential it really could with the general feel of the rise to progression to a wrestling superstar. It just doesn't really nail it, but it's something to play through and to keep you busy, and there is more variety within it now at least. The ability to cut promos is a nice little shakeup. While you've been able to choose your words here and there before, now you actually get to just straight up cut promos and talk smack and choose exactly what you want to say. It feels a little bit half-baked because all they really do is just mime the words and you have to read along like it's an RPG. So it feels like a little bit of like a half-baked feature, but it's still somewhat fun. I did enjoy choosing my words and seeing the meter go up and seeing if I was focusing on more being a heel or more being an awesome guy. Some of the dialogue can be really cheesy and corny, and I found myself saying, a wrestler would never say this. But for some reason, I still kind of found it fun. Thanks to the different modes and shakeups, there's a little bit more variety to feuds this time around. They feel a little more fleshed out. It's not just back-to-back matches. There's also Diva Matches, which interestingly enough, they still call it Diva Matches, even though I think WWE changed it to the Women's Division Championship. There's a little more focus on that though, and what I really liked is the return of backstage battles, because these are just stupid and awesome and fun, and there's a lot of variety and a lot of interactivity with the environment to really do stuff and go nuts. And surprisingly, the backstage battles are pretty big. There's enough room to roam around and go into different rooms and hit each other over the head with different things like suitcases, garbage cans, TVs, tables. Also, it's definitely going to bother some people, and I ran into some issues here and there. The game can be buggy as hell at times. Like I said, sometimes the animation looks janky, but sometimes that works into the actual gameplay with things just not registering or your character not exactly doing what you want. But then there's also the more extreme bugs and glitches where I've had a character fly up into the air out of the arena and then into a random place. I've also had characters get caught on ropes, stuck in ladders and objects backstage. It can come off really messy sometimes and isn't a good look, and I'd say it's probably one of the more weaker aspects of this game is the lack of polish. Oh, and of course I gotta mention the character customization because it's really great. It's still really not as comprehensible and deep as it's been in the past, but it's getting there and it's a lot of fun. In terms of actual changes to the gameplay itself, like I said, it's more smaller changes and tweaks and fine-tuning here and there. I did notice they changed the ladder control and the ladder system in general. There's also just small nuances to the reversal system that gives you a few more options. Sometimes there's multiple opportunities to reverse a certain type of move. It kind of does different effects. And now there's minor reversals and major reversals. And it does feel a little bit more depth to something that I do say still feels more like a sim than just like a fighting, brawling type of game. The newer 2K games are very divisive for people because I know there's some people out there that just want another No Mercy. And honestly, I'm one of those people because I thought that was one of the most fun games ever. But after 2K16 and now 2K17, this more simulator style gameplay is growing on me, I'll admit. Especially with the fine tunings here and there, it does feel much better, but ultimately every once in a while you will be disappointed because you lost a match just because you're not that good at a minigame. And I don't know if it really needs to be said, but these games are the best when you play them with friends. When you get a bunch of friends and you just get a shit show going, it can make for some memorable moments and a lot of stupid laughs. Maybe that's because of the animation system, which at times seems highly motion captured and looks great, and other times just looks awkward and janky as hell. And I guess you could say that about the rest of the visuals. Some of the time and most of the time this game looks like butt. This version I'm playing on Xbox One, and up close it does not look hot at all. From far away it looks decent, and some of the animation and like a muscle definition of the characters actually moves and changes and it looks interesting, but most of the time it just does not look too hot in motion. But ultimately, like I've been saying, if you are a wrestling fan, I think 2K17 is going to be for you because they just packed in so much freaking fan service with this one, even more than last year with 2K16 and the whole history of Stone Cold thing, which I really liked. liked. It's just chock full of a bunch of options and different ways to play that are going to keep you busy for a while. Whether you're playing by yourself and just going through universe mode, which to me is just like mashing all your old wrestling toys together and kind of playing like a football simulator type of game, but with wrestling. Or if you're social and you're playing online, which I didn't have too many issues with, or if you're sitting on the couch with your friends drinking beer, eating Cheetos, and just playing dumb wrestling games. It's still plenty of fun to be had. Like I said, it's no mercy, but it is a good time. It's just not perfect. Unless you're an absolute diehard, I wouldn't say to run out and buy it the second by any means, but I'd say give it a look. So guys, that's WWE 2K17. As always with a before you buy, I give you the pros, the cons, and some personal opinion thrown in there as well. But I do want to know in the comments what you guys think about this game. If you did pick it up day one, I want to know how you feel about the added features and modes and just kind of more fleshed out content. And do you like the little changes to the system here and there? Because this is a highly technical game first and foremost. So that the little nuances really change it up for you, I do want to know. Let me know anything you want about WWE 2K17 down in the comments. I'll be there talking to you guys, answering whatever questions I can, but you guys know the deal. Clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and it lets me do more and more before you buys. I'm very tired. I've played a lot of games. I haven't had any sleep, but I want to do more. Of course, subscribing if you're new is also a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
My God, his body's been through hell, and his ribs have bore the brunt of the attack.
And I hope we can get a doctor out here as a precaution. Damaged ribs like that can make it hard to breathe.